Hello, my name is Cheryl Clarke. I'm the superintendent of the Munson Public Schools, and I'd like to welcome you to Clarke's Corner. Every episode of Clarke's Corner highlights all of the wonderful things that are happening in the Munson Public Schools. And today we are highlighting Monson High School. I have staff and students with me to talk about some of their experiences. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. And if we could just go down and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Julian.
Hi, Julian.
I'm Kim Evans.
I'm Kara.
Matthew.
I'm Abby. I'm Natalie Bruno.
I'm Ken Topham.
Thank you. And Mrs. Evans and Mr. Topham are teachers at Monson High. And I'd first like to talk with Mrs. Evans and your students. You're here to talk about the child development class, correct?
We are.
Yes. So what can you tell me about it? Can you just give me a little overview?
Well, listen, this is an opportunity for students. It's an elective course, usually taken by juniors and seniors. Mm-hmm. And they get a classroom, some classroom training, about a week of it, and then they get thrown right into an authentic learning situation.
Which is?
Where they go into Miss Precious preschool, and they go in and they interact and they assist and support all of the students in their learning. And it's been a great experience for most of them.
So they can just walk right down from the high school?
They do.
So there's classroom component at the high school and then they go to
Yes,
the
and
ECC.
so the way it works right now, this semester we have 10 students, and the small group is very, I think, important because we have 5 students that will be going down every other day. So there's 2 groups,
Yep.
and so they each spend 2 days in the classroom there, and then the other 2 days they're not in the preschool. They're up at the high school with me, getting instruction on child development and the issues surrounding their ability to interact with students and support them in a way that will make everyone successful.
Well, I've seen them in the classroom with the littles, and they're so great with them. It's amazing.
It is a great. It's
Yes.
really wonderful to see.
Yes. And so, Natalie, why did you choose to take this class?
I chose to take this class because I want to go into early education when
Oh,
I'm
you
older.
do? Okay.
And so I thought the classroom environment would be a really good experience to learn how to interact with the kids to promote learning.
Awesome. And Abby, how about you?
Well, I've coached swim team in the past, and there was little kids on the swim team, and it was a really good experience to have, and I just thought that it would be another good experience to get in this class.
And so you're both enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. And so how do you support the kids? Like, what is a typical morning like for you?
So a lot of times when we go in there, they're in their stations, and we'll join them. They do a lot of role playing. The stations consist of different like adult activities like veterinarian or doctors, and so we'll either be a patient or we can be a doctor and play with them.
Because it's tools of the mind, right? Is the curriculum, so you must be getting familiar with that, correct?
I think Abby can speak about the play.
Oh yes, sometimes when we go down, they'll be at their desks before they go to the different stations, and they'll have little papers where they have to plan their play out, and so they'll write a sentence of what they're going to be doing when they get to the stations, and it really just helps to guide them once they get there.
That's awesome. Yes. So how do you feel that this program, Mrs. Evans, has impacted the kids?
Oh, well,
Both little and
I would say
big.
we've been going down to preschool now for about 10 years. And, over the years, things have kind of changed in the past 2 years. So now we're kind of entered a stage where we're so glad to be in that room together because we were kind of apart for a little while.
Yes.
And it gives real hands-on learning for the child development. They actually have authentic experiences where they can see kids learning emotional and social development through the skills and activities that they're doing with them.
Wow.
But also, so the kids are learning, the teenagers are learning from the little kids about child development and their abilities, and the little kids are learning about how to function and self-manage through the help of our high school students.
And the connections that they're making too
It's
are
really nice.
really nice. I was reading in Miss Precio's class, and all the little ones were sitting on the laps of the high school kids and leaning in, and it was just so nice to see
It
that
is.
connection. Do you have your favorite kids that you work with?
Oh,
or-
definitely. There's
Yes.
the ones that come up, they want to hold your hand when
Yes.
we go out. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Aw.
they'll run right up to you when you come into the classroom. It's cute.
Oh, so you're glad you chose this class, and you
Definitely,
think it'll
for
help you
sure.
in your future
I do, yeah.
endeavors? That's awesome. Is there anything else, Mrs. Evans?
Well, listen, I want you to know that we do also have male students that come and
I know,
are
I've
part
seen
of
that,
our
yes.
class. And so, we welcome everyone to try and take this class because, the most important part of life is really the first teachers, and that's being a parent. And getting kids to understand the different physical, and emotional, and social, and intellectual stages of development, I think, is a real opportunity for kids to take information and use it in the future. So that's what intelligence is all about,
That's right.
really.
It's true.
Is
It's
applying
true,
what
yes.
you've learned and put into action. So it's a
So
great
proud of
opportunity for
everybody.
that.
Yes, that's awesome. Yes, and it's great that we're so close that they can walk down and we can have that connection and offer that class in our fairly small high school, that we can have these opportunities for our
Most
kids.
definitely, having a close campus with
Yes.
our elementary, with our ECC, has really made it much easier for kids to, go down during class time and
Yeah.
and then also, that facility just being so close by to the high school is a great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So I'd like to next move on to Mr. Topham and your students. Is another other great electives and offerings that Monson High has. And so, Mr. Topham, can you just kind of tell a little bit about your music offerings?
Sure. So these days I'm teaching instrumental music, band, to high school and also to 7th and 8th grade. I'm also teaching vocal music, chorus to high school and to 7th and 8th grade. I also teach a music technology class, so the studio techniques, electronic music, and there's also multimedia technology, where we're learning how to put all of this stuff together into audio-visual projects.
That's it? That's quite a range of offerings. That's awesome. And I'm so happy to hear that, because I think, you may know, when I became superintendent, there was very little in the arts and music, and it was, very, very important to me that the kids had these opportunities. So thank you for fostering that and making it happen. So Matt, you're a little bit different, right? Because you're taking an independent study.
I also do participate in the band, yes, but
So
independent.
can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, the independent study is basically I'm taking songs that people may know, such as Mr. Blue Sky,
Yes.
and I'm arranging them into. I'm arranging them basically into sheet music format in order for our musicians to read them, play them, and
Really?
project them in a concert.
Wow. That's quite an undertaking, isn't it? Or
It takes a bit.
how long does it take to say that song?
Mr. Blue Sky took around 3 months just to get all on the paper and out to everyone.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's very
Takes a
impressive.
bit of
so is that
effort.
the arranging that you're talking about?
the arranging, yes, just basically taking what you hear and putting that into a sheet music format so that the notes correspond with the noise.
So, and then you also play which instrument?
I play trumpet, trombone. I've gotten a little bit into the vocoder as well, some synth, some synth keys.
yes.
I'm basically just expanding my musical range while, still participating in the band and helping
Sure.
everyone out.
That's awesome. Thank you for your help. And Kara, tell me what you're taking.
I'm taking band, chorus, and music appreciation. And in band, we're learning about jazz and how to improvise. Because we are such a small group, we can really experiment. And in chorus, we're doing advanced harmonies, like with Two of Us by the Beatles. We're doing those harmonies in that song. And in music appreciation, we're learning about like the history of jazz. We recently watched a documentary about it. And we're learning about the Baroque and the Renaissance and the Romantic era.
Wow,
like
so the
Mozart,
whole
Beethoven.
range. That's in
Yeah.
depth. That's beautiful. And Julie, what about you?
I am in band, also music appreciation, and earlier this year I took music tech.
And what was your favorite?
Music tech, I love that class so much. It was so much fun. We got to be so creative. We made music, we made videos, and I just loved the freedom. You could do whatever you wanted, and I loved that.
That's very cool, Mr. Topham. You give them the freedom to create and express themselves. That's just what it's supposed to be. So that's awesome. How long have you all been studying music, Matt?
I started in 6th grade, around when Topham also came to the school.
Yeah. Thank God.
Kira?
I started playing the flute when I was 11.
Ah, okay. Same.
And my first class with Mr. Topham was 5th grade, and I've been with him ever since.
So you started all of these wonderful musicians.
Yeah, it's been
and
really, this is a really
I've been
special.
with them a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that makes me happy.
You know what's really great too is what 2 of you are juniors. Are you a junior?
I'm a senior.
He's a senior. We are. Oh, jeez. You know. And who's Matt?
I know. So you did an amazing concert. It was just so nice to have an in-person event. I think that was the first in-person high school event since COVID. And even with the masks that we were all wearing, you really projected, and the singing was so incredible. So what's next?
Well, we have our spring concert is coming up. Actually, the beginning of May 5th, we'll be doing our spring concert. And like Kara had mentioned, we have smaller ensembles. And with smaller ensembles, with some benefits we get, we can really kind of branch out into some territory that we wouldn't normally have been able to do with a classical kind of wind ensemble. So we're branching out, doing some electronic music, doing integrating more synthesizers and more electronics, and doing some jazz, doing a lot of jazz, a lot of synth pop, doing some pop music, some Beatles, of course. We're always doing Beatles music. Just like the whole spectrum, just trying to give everybody a little taste of a little bit of everything.
So has being part of Mr. Topham's class expanded what kind of music you listen to now? Do you think, Julie?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So what's an example of maybe a band you didn't know? I hate to put you on the spot there, or some kind of music that maybe you would never thought you would have listened to.
In middle school, the songs we played in band, I loved playing them. Then I add them to my playlist when I got home.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's great. How about you guys, Kara?
Honestly, you were just talking about this today in music appreciation, the Melvins. You talk about them a lot because you said they were your favorite band, so I started to branch out. And I did listen to them.
Nice. And that
It was less like going into different genres of music, but more finding more music from that same genre, like all
I
the
see.
rock and whatnot. Like finding out about Rush and that band, like
I also-
that great music.
Sorry, Matt.
I've seen Rush a few times.
I also think participating and playing in these music classes, it makes you appreciate music a lot more. You can hear things in music that you wouldn't have been able to hear or understand before.
Oh,
And
yes. So your mind really does
Yeah.
expand. You're using parts of your mind that maybe you wouldn't normally have accessed. Maybe, yeah.
Just the
what
other day, I mean, we were studying the classical era, and we went through a whole period about Mozart and did a whole bunch of talking about him. And out of the blue, I got a message, an email from Julian asking about a particular thing that happened to Mozart. And so I wasn't sure how to take it at first. I didn't know if it was playing a trick on me or what, because no one's ever asked me about Mozart. And it actually made me feel really good. Like that's really special. It's really nice.
Both of you are making a difference for our students, and I cannot thank you enough for what you bring every day to our high school experience. And is there anything else that you wanted to add that
I would just like to say that I'm continually inspired by the strides that the students in the music department are making.
I agree.
The material that they're working on, the projects that they make in the classes, they go so far beyond what I would have expected a high school student to be able to do. So I'm very appreciative.
They are inspirational, as are you and Mrs. Evans. So thank you
thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. And next up, we are going to hear all about the high school's work-based learning. And now we're here with students and Mrs. Rosaza from the high school to talk about work-based learning. Welcome, everyone. Why don't we just go down the line?
Sure. I'm Mrs. Rosaza.
I'm Margaret.
I'm Chris.
I'm Alexis. Emily.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So, Mrs. Rosazza, tell me a little bit about work-based learning before we talk to the kids about their experiences.
Okay, so work-based learning is a really important program that we have to help kids develop their emerging skills and get involved in a community-based organization. So we partner with the schools and the business, and then we learn how to be good employees and also to just connect what we're interested in with our futures.
So it's do the students say, I am thinking I would like to be in healthcare, so can you
Yes.
find me? Okay.
Yeah.
Do they always have a preference, or do you kind of help them maybe find what they might be interested in?
So part of what we do in Munson, we try to help kids be aware of careers. We help them to explore careers, but also now we want to go a little bit deeper and have them be immersed in the career and experiences. So we've got
So what are
a
some
process, and one of the things that they do is a career interest survey. But they do that several times through high school because their career interests change.
Sure.
As they learn and grow.
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
At this point,
So
what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not like a marriage. It's
Right.
it's not a commitment for the rest of your life, but it is valuable
Sure.
experience that you can take with you for the rest of your career.
Sure. And so what are some examples of places? I know that since you've become the coordinator for work-based learning, you've
Yeah.
expanded the locations and
So
the
yeah, we
placements.
had some brand new.
Yes.
Our businesses have been so cool. Like we're very fortunate to have businesses who help care for and develop and encourage our students. And so we've got many. I've got like a whole list of them, but a few of them are Munson Savings Bank because
Yes.
they have been one of our biggest supporters and helps. We've got Kelly Building Group where Chris is, Harvey Auto in Munson, Palmer Healthcare where Alexis was, National Ambulance. And
These are all new.
yeah, these are
Names.
new.
This is
Springfield
great, yeah.
Police Department's new. Details Interior with Wendy Wallachuk.
Oh, wow.
Blanco Electric has taken a student for 2 semesters, and East Quabbin Land Trust,
Yes.
where we've heard
Margaret
we'll hear
is-
about Margaret.
yes.
But Munson Public Schools has also
Yes.
been a very big supporter and helper, and that's where Emily has
Right.
been.
Does anyone want to be a superintendent? I'll take some.
Not yet, but when we do, you'll be the first person I ask.
Excellent. Well, speaking of Munson Public Schools, Emily, you're on your second round, right?
Yes.
And you're now at the ECC.
Yes.
Yes. Well, can you tell me a little bit about that?
So my first internship was with a speech pathology assistant, Karen Bellotti,
Yes.
at the Early Childhood Center, and I loved doing that. I knew I wanted to be a speech pathologist since I was in like 8th grade, and I kind of stuck with it.
Every time I saw you at Quarry Hill, she was, I love this place. I'm so happy.
I know, I get updates. Daily
Yeah, I
updates
sent her
from
like
Emily.
pictures of like projects we're doing and things like that. And now for my second semester, I like didn't want to leave the building. I didn't want to leave like seeing the kids because I love them so much.
They are great.
So I'm in Cara Berry's preschool class with some of the students that I actually had in speech and then others. And I love it. I love that internship as well. That one I more use to see, do I want to work with the kids in this age group? And I definitely do.
Oh, the real little ones
the
you like.
little ones,
love
preschool and kindergarten. I love them.
And they love you. I know that too. I can tell every time I see you with the kids. That's awesome. So what do you do at Monson High to prepare? Is there something that you work with the kids on how to, like you said, how to be appropriate in the workplace? Are there things like that you guys work on?
Yeah, so starting in like, I think it was our sophomore year, we worked on resumes and cover letters. We did a career fair where we had like people come in and talk about different careers and like different fields you can go into. And then in the beginning of Workbase, before all of us had our placements, we did a lot of like the personality test to see kind of what job you'd be good at and what like kind of fits you and what doesn't fit you as much. And then we had some guest speakers come in the beginning of Workbase to talk about like different things in the workplace, such as like attendance, punctuality, things like
It's
that.
important. Yes. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you. And Alexis, you were in the healthcare field, right? Was that a
Yeah.
challenge during this period to find a placement or because of COVID and
Yeah, it definitely was. Initially, I was supposed to be at Wing Memorial.
Okay.
And then a week before I was supposed to start going, actually, the program got canceled because there was like an uptick in cases.
Oh.
So then, as school started, me and Miss Razaza were like searching around a bunch of different places, trying to find somewhere that would take like high school interns.
Sure.
And we landed on Palmer Healthcare Center. And even that, you had to make sure you were vaccinated against the flu and COVID. When you walked in, you had to immediately hand sanitize and then put a mask on and then get your fever taken, not your fever taken, get your temperature taken.
Sure.
And then answer questions and then take a COVID test.
Wow.
And then put on
every single day
goggles.
they went in.
Wow.
Every
So
day.
is that
Yeah.
like a walk-in kind of a place? It's a just general physicians that take patients. Or is it a small place
No,
where you are?
it's a smaller place. It's a rehabilitation center and nursing home.
Oh,
So like
oh,
most residents
wow.
have like a form of dementia or
Sure.
Alzheimer's
Oh.
or schizophrenia.
So what have you learned from that experience? How has that changed you maybe?
Well, getting to interact with residents who have those types of illnesses was different. So it was definitely a challenge to figure out the right way to communicate with them effectively, and I think that will definitely help since I'm pursuing nursing, and
You are.
understanding how to communicate with any type of patient
Sure.
or resident is super important.
So you are at the opposite end of what Emily's with the little ones and you're with the elderly. So that's awesome. And Chris, you're completely different. You're in construction, right? So can you tell me about your internship?
Well, yeah, I've kind of always had an interest in going into a trade, and this work-based kind of really let me see what a job site really looks like, and all the moving parts and all the different trades that kind of interact with each other. Like you have electricians doing a certain task in a different part of the building, then you'll have framing guys doing what they're doing in a different part of the building.
So were you actually hammering and doing that kind of work?
I was doing a
Some
little bit of that, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And but yeah, so I just like this work base because I feel like it would be a good option to have.
Sure.
Preferably, I'd rather go into like writing for college, but I think it's a good thing to have for.
It's a great thing to have. It's skills that you'll always use.
Always.
Yes. And Margaret, you were in an interesting place. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so my work-based placement is at the East Quabbin Land Trust. And so I've been working under the director, Cynthia Henshaw, and she has two other college interns, Jess and Louisa. And so we've been working on a lot of projects around the community there, which is in Hardwick. So we've been working in Barry and Ware.
And what do they do there?
So there's a lot of stuff. So they do some community programs, they do some community outreach to try to explain to community members how they can take better care of their property, how they can be more environmentally friendly, and how they can like create habitats in their own backyards that are more sustainable. We've also been doing some stuff just around the facility because there's going to be some kids programs there. So we've been building like a water wall, which is going to be a kids program. I cleared some trails there. Yeah, and we've done some other building stuff, like we built a kiosk for a hiking site in Barry as well.
So why were you drawn to this placement?
Well, I've always wanted to do environmental work. I've known that since I was like 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, like when I was younger, I wanted to be like a park ranger under DCR. And so I wanted to get experience working in the field, and this has been really great.
Sounds like a perfect placement. You
It
sound like
really
you're all
is,
in great placements. Has being in your placement changed how you feel about your future or reinforced it? What do you think, Emily? Or do you feel like this is where you want to be?
Yeah, I've wanted to be a speech pathologist, like I said, like for a really long time, but it's nice to like go in and like see the actual work and like the things like paperwork. There's like a lot of paperwork to do with it, but like I wouldn't have known that before. And it's kind of like cemented the idea that I do want to go to college for that. And like, it's a big commitment to go to college for something and like spend all that money. So I'm glad that I have that experience to know that I do really want to do that.
And you're all seniors?
Yeah.
So have you all decided on a college or a future for next year where you're going to be? Where are you going to be, Emily?
I'll be at Assumption University.
Oh, congratulations.
Majoring in communication sciences and disorders.
Excellent. What about you, Alexis?
I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but I'm majoring in nursing wherever I go.
Perfect. And Chris,
And,
you're a writer too, so
Yeah, but for the
you're
meantime,
a Renaissance man.
a little bit. For the meantime, I'm gonna get my general studies done at Stick.
Excellent. That's great. Get all those foundational courses done. And Margaret?
I'm going to be going to Wheaton College. But
4?
I haven't declared a major yet, but I'm thinking environmental science
studies.
or biology. Yeah.
Well, I am so proud of all of you. Mrs. Rosazza, anything else you'd like to add? These are some amazing students you have brought to Clark's Corner today.
I know. There are so
proud of them.
many benefits to taking work-based learning. So I don't know if you can each maybe say what are some of the benefits of taking the class and
Some benefits. We definitely learned like employability skills. So like we said before, like in the beginning of work-based, we had, I think it was like a week or two where we were in a class and we were talking about things like that. So there's a lot of like problem solving, communication, time management, things like that. And then I feel like you have like kind of a step above the other candidates that are like applying to colleges or jobs because you already have that experience. You already know that that's what you want to do.
Right.
or scholarships.
Oh
Nice
yeah,
scholarship.
actually I got a pretty big scholarship to
Nice.
Assumption for my
Congratulations.
work base. So
Cool.
Because she wrote about that in her essay.
yeah.
Wow. And Alexis, what have you?
I'd say, like Emily was talking about earlier, it's definitely good to know that the career you're pursuing is what you want to do before you spend all this money on college on it. And along with that, I think you can make some really great connections. Personally,
True.
my placement offered me a job in the summer if I wanted it. So I think
You must have made
making those
quite a great
connections.
impression on them. That's
So making those connections early is
Sure.
definitely a big benefit of it.
perfect. And Chris?
Kind of like with what they were saying, it's also really important with what you know, but also who you know. So it's really good with making connections for like jobs in the future, and also how to effectively communicate in like a career setting. So I think that's important.
And what about your summer job?
For mine, it really kind of helped me figure out what I like doing and what I dislike doing. Which
So what are you doing?
Well, right now I'm going to be doing framing in the summer.
Okay.
And
Great.
which I found that I kind of like because I like putting effort into like a project and
Sure.
seeing it when it's done, and kind of the process it takes to building it. So
Beautiful. And Mark?
Like Alexis said earlier, it's been great for connections. I got offered a job in the summer through my work base. It's not the same one, but through someone I met. Offered me a job for the summer.
Networking. Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
it's it's been really good to see what the job actually entails.
Well, I can't wait to see where your futures bring you. I'm very excited and hopeful for all of our futures
Me
with
too.
these young people. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you,
welcome.
Mrs.
Thanks for
Rosazza. And next up, we're going to learn all about athletics at Monson High. Joining me now is Monson High's new athletic director, Zach Dreyer. Welcome, Mr. Dreyer, and welcome to your new role as well.
Thank you.
So let's just start. Tell me what are some of the highlights so far that you've been experiencing as the new athletic director?
So some of the things I've really enjoyed is just getting experience with other sports. You know, growing up, I was kind of your basic football, baseball, basketball guy, and just, you know, getting involved in some of the newer sports like lacrosse and soccer and track. I've been learning a lot.
I bet you there's a lot to learn, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, there is.
And what about challenges? I know that it can be challenging sometimes to make everybody happy, to make sure that the games are scheduled. What are some challenges?
Yeah, well, definitely the spring weather, you know, doesn't always like to cooperate.
right.
So just last Friday, I was at an AD conference, the MIA conference in Westboro, and you know, here I am thinking it's going to be a nice day, listen to a couple speeches, and of course we have rain that morning, so I'm on my computer, you know, Tim Pascal checking the fields and, you know,
It's a lot.
postponing the baseball games. So
There's so much behind the scenes in athletics that, you know, just to have a softball game or a lacrosse game, it's not a game, lacrosse match.
Lacrosse match, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Buses, getting officials.
Right.
Sure.
So, in your it's been a couple of months. What are some of the projects or some of your goals that you're working on?
Yeah, so a couple things I'm working on right now is getting our batting cages up and going for
Yes,
our
I
baseball
heard about that.
and
Yes.
softball team. Softball, Matt Hull and Jim Zielinski were able to help me out this past weekend, so that cage is up and going, which is great.
Excellent.
And the baseball batting cage, I've been working closely with Paul DeMayo. The highway department was able to clear out all the prickers and brush for us. And Paul's been in touch with the welder. We're going to try to get the posts up and going.
So that wasn't in place before? We didn't have baseball batting cages?
So we did. We had 2 frames are still intact.
I see that, yeah.
The end 4 frames, I think got blown over. I don't know if it was the tornado.
So it's been that long, it's all overgrown, right?
Yeah, so
you wanna
yeah,
clean
kind
it
of got
out?
overgrown. Yeah, we were able to clear it out. And yeah, Paul's been in touch with the welder, so we're hoping to get those pieces fixed.
So that's great.
And get it up and going.
Yeah, because they didn't have that before
Nope.
this, obviously. So
Nope.
that'll hopefully improve. And in terms of the team, so I know we're a small school, but the 7th and 8th grade can participate, right?
Absolutely.
In varsity sports because
Yep.
they're all housed in the same building.
Yep.
So I know we have some co-ops both ways, right? So can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So we recently started co-oping with Pathfinder for our lacrosse teams.
So they're coming to us?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't end up receiving any interest on the girls' side, but we do have about 7 players on the boys' side coming and co-oping with us for the boys lacrosse.
And then we have football
Yep, and
with Palmer.
with Palmer, yep, in the fall.
And so that our kids can play because it's a challenge, speaking about challenges with a small school, to field the teams and offer the athletics that kids want and need, frankly,
Yeah.
can be challenging. So
Yeah, absolutely.
the
Some of
co-ops really help.
Yep, and some of the bigger programs like football, you need 11 kids on each side of the ball. So
Right.
those are tough programs to run in a small district
Right,
like us, just
right.
alone.
And even though we are a small district, we're mighty, right? Because we've gone into the postseason in soccer and
Yeah.
basketball, right?
That's right. Yep. So our girls soccer team won the Western Mass tournament this
Yeah,
past fall.
that's
So
right.
that's awesome. They made a good state run. They ended up making it to the semifinals in the state tournament. Our girls basketball, same thing. Made a little run. They won a couple games in the state tournament.
Yes,
So
that's
yeah,
exciting.
we're small and mighty.
Yay, yes, that's awesome. And the community, I know they are also mighty, right? They are. We are so blessed to have such enthusiastic parents and families and grandmas and grandpas and friends that come to games. So, and we have a very strong athletic boosters organization. So how are you planning to increase community involvement or at least, post pandemic has been challenging, right? So what are your plans there?
Yeah, so in terms of the community, one thing I'd like to bring back that Joe Trevisano actually, I believe, started was the mentoring program.
Oh, yes. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what he did was he was the old varsity basketball coach. And what he had was some of his players come down to Granite Valley, and what they were kind of assigned to like a specific student that maybe needed help in a certain subject, or maybe just,
Nice.
might be new to the district, need a friend. So,
Sure.
those kids come down at the end of the day from the high school, and they have that hour overlap where Granite Valley's still in school until 3:00.
Oh, right.
So they get to come down and, help the younger kids
That's
out.
awesome.
And it's, good for the community.
So you're going to
community
expand
building.
that. Yes, that's
Yeah, looking
great.
to bring that back next year.
And the boosters, I know we were all kind of dormant during the pandemic. So I know they had a meeting recently, and there's one coming up this month as well. So what are some of the things that the boosters have done for athletics?
So one thing that they really want to bring back is concessions. Like you said,
Yes,
we lost.
we
a couple
want them too. Yeah.
We lost a couple things due to the pandemic.
Right.
But there's nothing like going into a gym and you smell the popcorn and
Have a hot dog.
have a hot dog. You
Right.
have that good atmosphere. And yeah, it really helps bring a crowd and attract people.
Sure.
To come to the games.
And they provided a mascot, I think, for us, or did they?
Yeah.
The Munson
We have the
Mustang,
yeah.
and I believe that Mr. Sullivan is working with you, and Mr. Topham, who was just on about music at games and having games be more vibrant and exciting, while you're eating your popcorn. So those are some of the things that you're thinking about.
Yeah, that's something.
Now that COVID has been lifted.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd like to work with Mr. Topham and find some members of the choir that might be interested in maybe singing the national anthem before games.
Great. Yes.
And we'd like to also maybe work with Mr. Pitcher on like game production. Maybe something along the lines of lighting, maybe some kind of spotlight.
Or
with
he's
players.
the technology
Yep.
teacher, right? So
Yep.
he can, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so
Little
some kind
videos or something.
Yeah, videos or some kind of spotlight, maybe when
That'd
the
be
kids are
great.
getting introduced during the basketball game. So yeah, just things to add to the game experience
Sure.
and try to reinvigorate
Yes.
athletics a little
And
bit.
how's student engagement? How would you increase? Or are you thinking about increasing getting kids involved?
Yeah, so a couple ideas are like maybe some halftime events. When the teams go to the locker room, maybe like some kind of half court shot contest. With a little prize, or even encouraging the cheerleaders to organize some kind of halftime show where they can do their routine.
That's great.
While the kids are in the locker room. Yeah, just try add to the game experience.
So it's a real event, right? Because as we said, we currently can have no masks. We can have some popcorn, and it can be a real positive event for everyone. And it'd be nice to see everybody back out again at these games, because it means so much to the kids and the coaches and everybody. So yeah. So anything else you want to highlight in athletics that you can think about?
No, I think I'm just looking forward to really involving and putting these new ideas to work.
Yes, that'll be with the fall season, right? We'll start that.
Yeah. In the winter, basketball is a big sport.
Right.
Looking to put some of these ideas to work.
Yay! Well, we're looking forward to it too. And welcome in your new role. And thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of my guests today for joining me on Clark's Corner. And I encourage you to stay tuned for future episodes where you'll learn more and more about what's happening in our schools. Thank you.